All right. Reiner, you look beautiful. Hi there. All right, let me just tell you, last time we spoke, you were in your house in California. You were having a beer, and we had an interesting discussion while you were doing your tour in the US, and we just had a nice little chat. And I got to tell you, the people on my channel are all huge fans of yours. And I've got a couple of people that will separate out the chunks of the committee shows with great witnesses and testimony and then upload them. So your information is being shared widely. So we want to know, and I think the world wants to know, as we were just discussing, what are your plans and what in the heck is going on with the committee? Where's Reiner, the rock star? So hi, Reiner, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you, Alex. Thanks for having me. It's a very simple story. This is real life, and part of real life is that sometimes people have personal differences, which is the case in our case, Vivian and my case. It's like, like a marriage which breaks up because of irreconcilable differences. There's a little bit more to it. This is about power and control. We're both of us 50% shareholders of the entity, of the underlying entity. And it was quite a shock, I have to admit, when she decided to do her own thing without even telling me about the fact that she's going to do her own little version of the Corona Investigative Committee. Remember, I'm a 50% shareholder. I'm the one who was in charge of 90%, I should say, maybe 95% of all the guests that we ever interviewed. So I'm the one who did most of the work. I'm not trying to brag here, but most of the work that accounts for the success of the Corona Investigative Committee. On the other hand, I am, in hindsight, I'm glad it's over, because it's always been difficult. And I'm glad I'm going to be able to do my own version of the Corona Committee. I'm going to call it International Crimes Investigative Committee, ICIC. And we're going to broaden our scope to looking at not just Corona, but everything else that's also part of the Great Reset, which includes the Ukraine crisis. It includes global warming. It includes a breakdown of supply chains, everything that they're using in order to keep us in panic mode. But I also, so that we will follow their orders blindly, but I also want to show people what they can do in order to stop this, in order to go for damages. Part of is legal, of course. But I want to be this I want to have my own version of the Corona Investigative Committee, which, as I said, is going to be called ICIC, International Crimes Investigative Committee, so that we will both broaden our scope and give people advice and hope on how to get out of this and how to go for damages, which will probably include eventually taking down many of the global corporations that are involved in this.
Okay. Well, I think it's important because there are, as we were saying, you guys have been a hub of intelligence, meaning information and brain power from multiple experts, multidisciplinary, worldwide, and has really made an enormous impact on many multidisciplinary professionals, getting feedback and connecting through them and saying, oh, that person. So I think it is crucial work. And as I said, from the first time I spoke with you, crucial work. And it's very unfortunate. And of course, I question the timing on this. And I don't even want to go into the discussion of, Dr. Wog, who started with Lee Merritt. And then you had done a panel discussion with her in a show. Where is it, in Asia?
I was on a panel that had her on a panel as well. And I was debating whether or not to interview her, because what she says makes sense. I know that a lot of other scientists out there agree with her. However, when these doubts about her credentials came up, I became aware of the fact that this may very well be another one of those cases where you have the truth being told by someone whose credibility has been destroyed, so that people will not believe the truth. that's why I'm still sitting and waiting for things to evolve here.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, even if she doesn't have a PhD, who cares? Did Thomas Edison have a PhD? Did Nikola Tesla have a PhD?
Yeah.
No, but they didn't walk around saying, I have 2 PhDs. So if she was trying to add credibility and she doesn't have it, well, then that brings a lot of questions to everything else, right? Because I
Right.
personally was most interested in the 2,000 vials she said she had tested with what, 18 other labs around the world. And now you have to question, they found no mRNA, no spike protein, only just the toxic chemicals or the metals. Well, A, did those tests ever get done? B, were those the findings? C, she's having problems publishing it. All she has to do is take a PDF and upload it. Dr. Merritt said she'd put it up. I clearly would put it up as a link, and there's thousands of people that would share that information. But then the question is it valid? Who knows? So this little stunt really, as you just said, questions the credibility of all of her stuff. And then the fact checkers came leaping in. And that was very interesting. It feels like a setup to me, because then they were commenting on your involvement in an operation in Germany that was evidently being funded with what? With Soros money, supposedly, or even Gates.
Yeah,
What the
that
hell
was
was that?
insane. You know, this is part of a campaign that's been going on for about 2 years now. People trying to make me and Martin Schwab, my good friend Martin Schwab, one of the best lawyers I know, if not the best lawyer I know, professor of law from the University of Bielefeld. They're trying to paint me as a group of people who are cooperating with George Soros. This is because he and I don't even know the man. And of course I wouldn't cooperate with him, but because he and I had joined this NGO or a nonprofit, which was going to go after the banking industry, because the German government and the judiciary in Germany can't go after the banking industry because they're in a stranglehold of the banks, the financial industry's lobbyists. So we joined this outfit, which we thought, both of us, and I still think it makes a lot of sense. And I left when I realized that they were working with so-called fact checkers who were going after Wolfgang Wodark. And since I couldn't, I was not able to make myself understood as far as these particular fact checkers are concerned, I left. But I never even knew that George Soros had funded them, had given them any donations. I still don't know if this is true. There was a time when people tried to imagine that I was, and this is 20 years ago, that I was a member of Scientology.
Oh, no.
Well, I was then still working at the University of Göttingen, and I tried to explain to the president of the university, who was, I think his birthday is on the same day, and I told him, Mr. President, I have nothing to, and he said, I know. If you were ever a member of a cult or a sect, it's only one that you yourself set up. I said, yeah, agreed. No,
Excellent.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
This is just framing.
Yeah, it's just nonsense. But again, notice the timing. First, you get Lee Merritt, who was a threat to them as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So they could be a setup. They place this Dr. Wog in there, Pumina. And then you mention it. And then this guy is saying, you had her on the show. She was never on the committee show. You
No
were
way.
thinking about
No.
it, right? And then they attack you on this nonsense and mischaracterize it. And now suddenly it's just an attempted smear. Fascinating. And then, surprise, surprise, a coincidence. Your 50% shareholder decides that she's going to pull a coup.
Yeah.
Now, you think that's all coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. Or maybe she just saw that happening and figured this is a weakness I can attack now. You never know. So
anything's possible. Anything is possible. I think it's just personal problems that she and others are suffering from. But it is very well possible that the other side is using this, is using these problems. Yeah, possible.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, one of my viewers said that Maria Z was trying to reach out to you to get an explanation, and that she was getting no feedback. And I mentioned it before we started recording. And what did you say? That Corvin, your back guy, is interfering with your communications.
Yeah.
Trying to shut down your Telegram accounts?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately, he's a very smart man. He is, but he's very young. I think he's 35 or so. He may not understand what Vivian is pulling off right now. She's very. I think she's very effective when it comes to impressing people, or should I say, manipulating people. He
Yeah.
doesn't understand yet, but I think most of our viewers have understood what's going on, and the comments are very negative, to put it that way. And Corvin is
Yeah.
real busy deleting the chats when it comes to these comments.
So, right. So it's not quite as brutal as Facebook that removes the thumb down. So there's no thumbs down, especially on the
Yeah.
White House channel in
Yeah.
the US. Yeah. Well, that's interesting, but I don't think 35 is that young. And I think you better have a good talk with that young man and explain to him that he is interfering with some stuff and there's overreach. So, in theory, you have kind of stepped away from this. Is that fair to say? She's trying to do a coup and you're like, go ahead, whatever, let me
Yeah.
away. Or could you just show up in the committee if they tell you the right time and say, hi, I'm back? And then have a
No, I
group
don't.
discussion.
I have no interest. I have no interest in that. It's been difficult for quite a while, and I think some of our viewers have seen that. And therefore, in hindsight, now it's in hindsight.
Yes.
I'm glad it happened. I'm just very sorry about the way that it happened, because this is totally unnecessary. This is totally, utterly stupid. You don't do this in public. If you have these differences, you do it, you solve them behind the scenes. And I was hoping that we would be able to step in front of the camera and have a joint statement, an amicable statement, wish each other luck with our own versions of the Corona Committee. But for some strange reasons, she and Wolfgang and Corvin were not interested. They're on I should say, they're on self-destruct right now.
Well, I imagine the viewers are going to drop off enormously because nobody's really interested in listening to her do her thing. And Wolfgang, of course, is interesting, but they're not Reiner Fuelmish. And your demeanor and your insights really make the show great, and again, you told me that you were doing the setup, the work, the preparation for all of the shows. That's
well, the thing is, Alex, this is really flattering, of course. Thank you very much. But the thing is, you get what you see, you get what you pay for. I'm real. I'm not pretending to be someone who I'm not. When you see my emotions, they're real emotions. And I'm not ashamed of that. Sometimes what we're talking about, what we learn, is truly shocking. I keep telling everyone that up until 2.5 years ago, I was literally a follower of the mainstream, even though I did have my doubts. And I keep telling everyone that had someone told me 2.5 years ago what I know now, I would have told them to take their pills, go see a doctor, and things will be fine. And now we're running out of conspiracy theories. But again, I'm glad it happened. I'm just very unhappy about the way it happened.
Understood. Now, what about all the people that are plugged in with you, all of the lawyers on what did you do, the grand jury committee, and all of your guests? Are they going to be able to reach you?
Yes.
Because if they're interfering with your Telegram, you probably need to set up another one.
Yes, I will.
We need to get this out.
It'll happen over the next couple of days. Right now I'm real busy because tomorrow I'm going to be in Vienna giving an interview. Then next weekend I'm going to go to Greece doing a whole bunch of interviews, because Greece, of course, is the cradle of democracy. They have a very strong movement there, resistance movement. But in the meantime, I'm putting together a new group of people. Some of the old group of people are with me already, but I also need some technical assistance, which I have. But it does take a couple of days, 10 days or so, 2 weeks maybe, and then I'm going to be back with my own version of the continuation of the Corona Investigative Committee, except it's going to be a different name, and it's going to be on a broader scope, and it's going to have a real focus with something that we're going to be able to offer to the people, how they can solve this problem and how they can go for damages.
Excellent. Well, I watched the interview you did with Stu Peters a couple of days ago, And you had mentioned in there that there were several large suits brought in different countries around the world, usually getting dismissed pretty much outright, and several suits in the US, et cetera. But then you were just discussing class action suits. And I know that, and I had mentioned to you that there are a lot of lawyers that I know that have not been on the committee, have not reached out to you or Corbin or anything else, but they follow you. And I'm sure they would like to be able to conference and or jump on board. So we should probably figure out a good way to get that to happen.
Yeah, just write me an email. I will, by the end of next week, I will have my own trusted group of highly competent people around me so that we can get a head start almost over the old Corona Investigative Committee.
Right.
But by the end of next week, it'll make sense to send me emails. Right now, I'm just drowned. I think I have a backlog of 350 or 400 emails because my law firm, or at least 2 to 3 lawyers, 2 paralegals, the IT person, my law firm has been handling all of almost 100% of the, I guess you call this customer relations, the communication with our donors and followers. And this has been overwhelming. But by the end of next week, I will have a new team, and we will be able to process all of these mails, all of these phone calls, all of these pieces of mail. We have taken pride in being quick to respond, but sometimes it's just too much.
Right. Well, as I said to you, what if you persuade Corbin to come and work on the new committee? What are you calling it? The international?
I may give it a shot. We'll see.
Yeah, because I don't like the idea that he's interfering with your communications, and you're what 50% owner of the underlying entity. Wow. I don't know how they could do that. But then again, if you get sucked into litigation, fighting over that, it opens several new cans of worms. And what a waste of time and energy. And I'm glad to see that you're still driving the ball forward. So this is basically an information pop for people. And, I've got more people you could speak with. I can connect you with some internet radio people if you're interested in having a blurb. And of course, I had suggested you talk with Maria Z. You talk with, what's his name? Germ Warfare. And
great guy.
Yeah,
I love
Jeremy.
Both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Bobby at Children's Health Defense, and have a discussion there and put that out. And this way you've got quality people putting it out. And even your very own little old FJ, Farmer Jones over here. So I guess we'll start it here and get the ball rolling. Well, I guess anything else you want to add? We can close it there. It's a Saturday night. So what is it? Almost 10 o'clock over by you.
It's a Saturday night. I'm going to have to go to bed because I'm going to have to get up early at 4 o'clock in the morning to drive to the airport and then fly to Vienna.
Ah, good. Vienna, the center of Europe. Nice stuff. Yeah, your cohorts over there just did a little show on Thursday from Vienna, evidently, right?
I know. Yeah.
Curious. I don't know. Well, it would have been very nice had you and Vivian done a little presentation and say, hey, we're parting ways. And as I said to George Webb and Shakespearean quote, we measure swords and part friends. Yeah, but no, can't do that. All right. Well, we have irreconcilable personality differences, right?
I guess you could call it that. Yes.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, Reiner, so much. And everybody, you can download this and re-upload it. And then I'll just end this here and let me just hit stop recording. We're doing this from phones in a very casual manner. Okay, recording. All right. Thank you, sir.
Hey, that's it. Thank you for the opportunity. This is pretty cool.